sounds of the next generation taking back the planet. Today, Central Junior High School students in Superior put their books away and held class outside. It was all part of a recycling project put together by 8th and 9th grade science students. Local residents had the chance to bring in the recyclable garbage, and the kids took over from there. Science teacher Mark Howard says education is the key to a successful Earth Day.
To create an awareness in our community and allow our community to see the kids doing something positive. And it's important to get the community involved with the school as well as with the students. And the environment needs the help, so we're going to do it all together.
And all that cooperation made for a busy day for both students and those who took advantage of the project.
I think it's great. I think the kids need to get involved, and this is going to affect them over their years. So I think it's nice that they're taking their time out of school to do this.
From crushing cans, collecting oil, to separating the recyclables, students learned what Earth Day is about firsthand.
Earth Day is for everyone, but it's especially for our young people who are willing and eager to learn good habits that can save our planet.
Earth Day is a day to make people realize that there's many things you can do for the Earth, that it's not all over.
In fact, saving the planet has just begun, and while these students' classroom was empty today, the lessons of Earth Day still hit home. In Superior, Stephanie Guadian, News 6.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
This is probably only my 4th time I've carved in public, but I think that's the way I'm going to go from now on.
Like say for instance the apple fest in Mayfield will probably go along that highway there somewhere.
For more than 25 years, these Good Samaritans, or Good Sammers as they prefer to be called, have come from around the world to help fellow recreational vehicle owners.
Of course, we're thinking about recreational type individuals having a trailer broke down or something. The thing is, in our mind, our plan would be to stop and help these people.
These Good Sammers also become members of the communities they visit.
When we leave, we would like you to think of us and wish that we hadn't gone home.
2 years ago, RV owners found themselves knee-deep in mud during a disastrous Airstreamer convention. It's plans for nearly 2,500 recreational vehicles that has prompted Duluth Entertainment and Convention Center officials to find a dry location.
Most of the parking will be down in the downtown area along the waterfront. It'll be real convenient. We'll do some transportation via shuttling buses. So they'll be down where the people want to be. They'll be by the restaurants, by the attractions, and real convenient to the convention center where all their activities are held.
DEC officials say the Duluth community will be happy to mirror the Good Sam's hospitality.
It's the time of year when our hotel rooms are already booked. So we have the luxury of having more visitors, even though we wouldn't actually have the hotel rooms. They can go out and make a real impact on the corner drugstore, the gas stations, the automobile dealerships, the hairdressers.
So, Shelley, it's been, what, 6 years since you've been here on the bar, at the bar?
Yes, yes, yes. I've been back to Paramount with the gang, but not at the bar for 6 years.
How difficult was it when you first stepped back in here?
Oh, it wasn't difficult.
No?
It was interesting.
Yeah?
It was a little eerie, a little, I wasn't quite sure how I'd feel. I remember vividly, I came here after we had wrapped my last show on Cheers. And I came back to the stage for wardrobe fitting for my movie that I was going to do. And when I walked through the stage after that fitting, the bar and everything was gone, because this all gets stored during the summer. And it was just the strangest feeling. But, you know, I turned the corner this time, and it was all back. So it feels familiar, and it feels new at the same time.
Was it difficult getting back into being Diane?
Well, I've been working on it. And you're probably hearing some of it now, because I'm here, and I have been working on it, and I've been doing it all day for the last, what, 10 hours or something. So the first thing I thought I really wanted to find was the voice, and I think that's there. Yeah, I was, because I had to, when you do a character 5 days a week for 5 years, that character is so much a part of you and your body and your voice and your life that it sometimes creeps in where you don't ask it to be. Mm-hmm. And it would do that. And so I had to work for a while to keep it away where it didn't belong. And now I think that, you know, that character's put away or had been put away, and I was a little concerned that I might not be able to find her and then make her fresh and 6 years later. But I think we're getting there.
Is Diane Chambers different now than we saw her 6 years ago?
Sure,
yeah.
She is, absolutely. We're all different than we were 6 years ago, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. You know, this is being the final season, final episode. Was it important to you to come back and be part of this?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Because after 6 years of never being called back, I figured it wasn't going to happen. And they had explained, the producers, once in front of a live audience for the 200th show anniversary. They had been asked the question, was Diane going to come back? And of course, I've been asked this question a million times. And the producers then, the line producers, not the original creators, but the line producers had said, well, you know, they felt they were so pleased with the way Diane had left the first time, they didn't know if they could do it as well a second time. Well, I understand that, because they did it beautifully. You know, I think the episode where the Diane character left was very well done, and so I understood that. And when Glenn called, and I returned his call, I told him I was surprised, and then he said he was surprised that I was surprised, and, you know, we did that for a while. But I didn't feel, I felt like it was very hard to leave. Mm-hmm. It's a very difficult decision to make, very difficult. And even after I made it, it was difficult. And there were tensions that were starting to build, and I didn't know what that was all about. A long time after I'd walked off the stage, after 5 years, it started to become apparent that the tensions were about, Ted has explained this and said it to me, the tensions were about the fears that they all felt, that the show couldn't continue, which I kept saying, the couple of times I heard them say it, I said, that's ridiculous. You know, you have a wonderful cast, you have a wonderful crew, you have wonderful writers, it's all wonderful, it'll all keep going. Well, I was right, but they didn't know that, and there was fear. So, you know, all of that went on, and I dealt with my own life and my own career, and made my choices, and I felt like I had acknowledged what great appreciation I had for Cheers, and for all the wonderful things that had happened here, and the wonderful work I was able to do with the help of all these great people. So I felt like I'd said my goodbyes. I mean, oh, the tears that flowed the night, the wrap party after the last show. I mean, they showed this wonderful tribute to Diane and clips, and I cried and cried and tried to make a speech and cried some more. And so I felt like I had made my amends. I was done. I'd said goodbye and thank you, and many times in the press and other places. So I didn't really feel like I had to come back. But Glenn and Les Charles and Jimmy Burrows, the executive producers and creators of the show, felt that Diane needed to come back. And for them and for the many, many, many people who have asked me, is Diane coming back? Are you gonna, don't you think she should come? For all those people, I felt like, given the opportunity, if the producers wanted that, yes, of course, I would try to do that.
After you made that decision...
How long was that sentence?
But a good one, a good one.
Thank you.
And well diagrammed. After you made that decision, did you ever second guess it, after you left? Did you ever think, maybe I made a mistake, maybe I should have stayed?
No, I really didn't. I questioned some of the other decisions I made once I'd left, in terms of, well, is there some other way I could have convinced Hollywood that I could play something besides a Diane Chambers kind of character? Did I not develop films properly? Could I have developed different films? Could I have chosen different clothes? I don't know what it was, but I did have difficulty finding the kind of roles that I was really interested. I had difficulty finding any roles that really I connected with for a while, because I think people just sort of closed the book on me for a while. They're, oh, well, she's gone. Or or they were sort of annoyed. Oh, well, she thinks she's going to have a life? Please. Which, I watch TV too. Not a lot, but I do watch TV. And I do understand the connection that people feel with shows and with characters. And I've gotten people to admit, even reporters, to say to me, yeah, okay, I was a little annoyed. Okay, I was really annoyed that you left the show. And I do understand that. It was a break. It was a change. We don't like change. We human beings, we don't like change. Change is hard. But so I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shook things up there a little bit, and people got a little worried and fearful. But look what happened. The show went on in even greater success, and I was able to do the things I was looking forward to do, not as quickly as I wanted to do them, but I was able to do more movies and some wonderful projects that I'm very, very proud of, some of them my own, including the series that's now coming out, and to spend time with my family, my husband and my child, that I just would never have had. I wouldn't have had it. And I mean, I could cite you examples of mornings when I think to myself, well, there were days when I think, gee, I wish I were working today, and I think about the gang of Cheers, but there were other times I think, I'm so happy I'm here with my little girl and my husband, and so there are trade-offs.
Mm-hmm. Do you, oh.
We're rolling. Speed.
The show has ended because Ted has said this is enough. The show survived you leaving. It survived the death of Nicholas Colasanto. Do you think it could have survived, the show could survive without Ted Danson?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think Teddy really is the hub of the wheel. He's certainly the captain of the team. Now, they have a very strong coach in Jimmy Burrows, and gee, I don't know what you call the Charles brothers. I mean, they invented the game in a way, and they're still making footballs or something. And I'm sort of at the end of that analogy, but no, I don't. Well, I don't know. Ted is, what he's created with Sam is magic. But there's some kind of magic here, too. So I wouldn't be surprised if a new generation visited the bar. That could happen. I'm getting chills sitting here talking about it, so maybe that will happen. But
cheers the next generation.
But Ted would always, cheers the next generation, right. Ted/Sam would always be remembered, would always be here. Just as for me, Nick/the coach is always here, or I'm always missing him.
Are you? It's funny, I mean, I've asked everybody about him, and it just seems, I mean, the emotion.
I know.
He was very special, wasn't he?
Yep. He was. he just loved. And you don't get that too much, you know. Nick was, he could growl, be kind of cranky, but when he was the coach, even as the coach, he could be cranky. He had some opportunities to, you know, show his other sides, but he loved Diane, and I feel like he loved me. He loved all the rest as well, but I could feel his love. And that, my character and me, Shelley, really needed that. And it gave me something as an actress, as a human being, and as this lady, Diane, that enriched all of it. And I still remember things he told me about acting. And I can remember standing right there. And Nick is fine actor that he was and fine director, making a drink, making several drinks, and he's so involved in making the drinks, he forgets to give me my cue. And it's a run-through, and I'm, you know, trying to, Nick, you know, he always called me Diane, never Shelley, always Diane. And, Nick, it's Diane, Nick. Making these, stirring the drinks, he would have gone on for 2 hours. And finally, in laughter and love, the tears are just streaming down my face, and they all know what's going on. You know, everything has to stop because he hasn't given me my line. The show can't go on. But God bless him, he made me laugh, and he makes me cry, and he's still an inspiration.
Well, are there moments that come back to you? Are there any special moments? I mean, besides obviously.
Besides the one I just described.
Yes, besides that, God. Besides, you know, in doing Cheers, were there any? I mean, I remember to me the show where you were all older. You know.
Oh, yes, that was my last show. The We Were All Older show was my last show. It was an incredible show. One of my favorites.
What was that like?
Well, the makeup took. Pond scum line was pretty, it seemed to be quite significant at the time. I think Jane, special moments. Oh yes, the being old took 7 hours in makeup.
What?
Oh, that's right, I beg your pardon.
That's okay, it's a keepsake.
Oh, I'll sign that for you.
There you go, see? What was that show, the final show, like for you?
Well, it was, we did it in pieces. We did some of it in front of the audience. The old age makeup took, as I say, 7 hours. So that was done a separate day. It took us most of the day just to get the makeup on, and then we shot the scene, and then we showed it to the live audience. I think, which Ted has described to me when I called him recently before we started rehearsal on the show, and he was describing some of his feelings about leaving the show, and it reminded me of my feelings. You start to be, a part of you doesn't even know, because you can't, exactly what's happening, and you do know. It'll all be recorded in there somewhere, but you can't completely deal with it, or you would just go into a million pieces. So you just plod ahead and try not to think about the future. You want to stay in the present, and that's really a major challenge for all of us as humans, but certainly as actors, that's what we're supposed to do. And the material was so beautiful in that show. It was such a beautifully written show that I was able to really concentrate on the performance and not think about what consequence it would have, good, bad, or indifferent, on my life, but just that I wanted to do a good job.
You've left. I mean, you left the show. You know what it's like to do that. Did you give Ted any advice?
He's asked me more than once, what's it like out there? And I guess I would have to say to him or to anyone, well, it's going to be different for each person, but I think it does take some time to make the adjustment for you as an individual, an actor, to move away from a character that's so deeply embedded, and for Ted and the others who've been here 11 years, Jimmy pointed out that's like 1/6 of their lives or something, a quarter of their lives. I mean, it's a big chunk of their lives. And it'll take some time to for that character to move away, you can't just rip it out. You would rip other things with it. And I think it'll take some time, too, for the public to make the adjustment, that there is a Ted Danson there. They've seen him do other things, of course, but now they're going to see him do many other things, and they will not see new versions of Sam or Cheers, that it will become part of the past. It'll be on the air, as we know, so it lives forever, which is nice, but there is that adjustment that needs to be made, and so you give it time. Be a little patient, have a little love for yourself and for others, that some will make the adjustment quicker than others. Take a few deep breaths and just take it as easy as you can.
Thank you very much.
Duluth and St. Louis County. 64% responded yes, 19% completed session to allow state residents the opportunity, 77% referendum that would allow citizens the opportunity to place issues on responding yes to that question, and only 80% responded.
It's real nice.
Now 12, Paul Samardzija and his friend Bruce Brown's favorite pastime is still hitting a few balls around. But they're not batting 1,000 this season. In fact, they're not batting at all. They've been banned from their neighborhood ballpark after a neighbor complained about foul balls breaking her windows.
We can't play here. Because whenever a ball goes into her yard, she calls the police.
The neighbor, who lives right across the street from the park, says she's already had 2 broken windows. She's not waiting for strike 3. According to her, the boys are out. But the home team's not ready to give up without a fight. The boys have begun circulating a petition protecting their right to play ball. They've already gathered 78 signatures.
It's not that we don't respect our property or anything, but we also have a right to play baseball.
The mayor of Gilbert says he understands the concerns of both parties. After all, broken windows and baseball go hand in hand. But he says the city is working on a solution.
The city crew is working on a new backstop extension, moving the base lanes and the home plate back. Therefore, the balls will not be going onto the street. I don't think it's a matter only about 30 feet away from home plate. It's very close, so we are working to help her and help the kids. So everything should be solved shortly.
The boys just hope it happens before rather than after the baseball season is over. In Gilbert, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
Honesty in your statements. Are you against discrimination? Then prove it. Message to the mayor or on this issue or whatever.
There's a movement in this country. Duluth is not excluded from that movement. Gay and lesbian people and bisexual people in this community realize that they are an important part of the community, and we are going to stand for discrimination and exclusion no longer.
A settlement claim will come up later, a document that we will sign, but that will just be for those claims. We did not settle for workman's comp claims or other health claims that may occur in the future.
may see us on street dances. We're going to be a couple other events around the area in these little small towns with us. Have to come and try it. It's great. No motion sickness, believe me, no motion sickness.
He always had time to help me learn things, and that's, I guess, the thing that I appreciate most about my dad. Things that back when I was a little girl we normally learn, like how to change the oil and how to change a tire, and I really appreciate that now.
I'd probably say the fact that he likes doing things with me. He's always there when I need him.
He was a hard worker, and he worked up till just about the day he was able to, up to about almost 80 years old.
Well, I have a stepdad, and I guess he kind of took us in as his own children, and he's kind of my dad. And I have a real dad, and he's just as special, so. I have two dads, so I'm pretty lucky.
The water started receding in Hatfield at about 5:30 last night. The main street through town had been passable yesterday only by canoe, and Ron Kautz's tavern had flooded. Today there's still water in the basement. The new furnace, freezers, and lots of supplies flooded, but the water is gone from the main floor.
4:08 yesterday morning, there was no water in town, and by 8:30 we were flooded, and in 45 minutes it wipes a dream out.
Family and friends helped out all over town, and in Black River Falls, which had been braced for a possible break in the dam, some streets and houses were still flooded today, and people still traveled in by boat to inspect the damage. You can see how much higher the water was. In other places where boats were needed yesterday, the water had receded today, revealing a massive cleanup job, the destructive force of water evident everywhere.
The stove and refrigerator was new, the floor was just put in. My old floor in the dining room.
Across the street, we circled this house last night while volunteers looked for the homeowner's pets. Today, the water was down, but a cat was still missing.
305 South 3rd is the address I just reported that has the power on. People are in the residence. We need to do something with that real quick, over.
Several hundred National Guard troops patrolled flooded areas in Black River Falls today to keep out looters and sightseers. I'm Mary Stuckey for NBC News.
The population of senior citizens in the Northland is large and growing. Many have suggested this significant elderly population poses a real hazard on the roads in this area, especially in the winter. Statistically, seniors are involved in a disproportionate number of accidents. Authorities say the problem is caused by many drivers over 55 suffering from slowed reaction time and declining vision. Despite this, there are no specific state regulations for relicensing senior citizens.
As far as retesting goes, it'd be really costly. I feel that probably defensive driving courses are an alternative to testing.
The issue of retesting has become a hot potato, with many seniors fiercely protective of their driving rights.
I have to have a driver's license. How are you going to get any place now without a driver's license?
Though there are no special regulations or restrictions regarding driving relicensing for people over a certain age, the State Patrol does encourage people over 55 to take a specially designed defensive driving course.
I think we offer some expertise as far as experience and the different problems at all age levels and the problems that are on the road. And so that is what our activities are, as the instructor.
This special course is offered through the National Council on Defensive Driving. The Association of Retired Persons also offers a defensive driving course called 55 Alive. Older drivers who successfully complete either course can get 10% off their insurance costs. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
system. We have 2 lift stations here that require a grinding system on there, or grinding pumps, and we're waiting now to change that.
For those in the Northland that love shooting a bow and arrow, Superior has a new video archery system that hits the bullseye. Twin Ports Archery Outfitters at the Belknap Plaza in Superior is the first of its kind in the Northland. The game uses videotapes of wildlife projected onto a large styrofoam-like screen to simulate the bow hunting experience.
It provides the hunter with probably the most realistic hunting scenario outside of the wild that you can get. The animals are actually moving through the brush. You can hear them, they're calling. Just everything is taken out of their natural habitat.
The year-round system allows bow hunters to use their own equipment, something they've been waiting for.
The whole region's a real hotbed for archery activity, especially the Twin Ports, and it's got a real big following, and it's growing every year by leaps and bounds.
It's also a safe place for amateurs to learn the sport.
It's very safe. You're shooting at 20 yards, 60 feet. Everybody stands behind the line until everybody has shot. Once the line is clear, then everybody walks down and scores together.
The Twin Ports Archery Outfitters will cater to the young and old, the experienced and the inexperienced, by making the sport a year-round event. In Superior, Amy Cook, News 6.
It's been escalating. We've been talking about this for years. I think the way that they treat the doctors and the clinic directors is nothing less than terrorism.
Culverts in many Northland towns are unable to handle the water flow from this weekend's rain, sending the floodwaters instead to local residents' yards, homes, and basements. The record rain flooded many roads, leaving some people stranded and others fighting an all-night battle to stop the water. And despite more than 100 volunteers, firefighters, and Red Cross workers, the water levels continue to rise.
Traumatic. I was up all night watching pumps. It's not an easy thing to go through. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it's not an easy experience to go through.
And Sheldon was not alone. Officials say more than 200 homes in Chisholm suffered flood damage over the weekend. The rains have stopped for now and the floodwaters have begun to recede, but for many Northland residents, their battle with Mother Nature is far from over. Officials spent the day surveying the damage. Calls requesting help have been coming in nonstop since the rain first began, and now that many are returning home from their holiday trips, officials are expecting even more calls.
We came home at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday night, so I've been just kind of like shocked, because there was already 12 inches of water in the basin at that time, and then it went up to about 21 inches.
And while the cleanup continues, many Northland residents know they have a long road ahead of them.
We're certainly, not through this yet. If, we get the rain that's predicted, we're just going to kind of hold tight and see. We've got sandbags on standby. It's certainly the worst I've ever seen it in Chisholm.
In Chisholm, Stephanie Guadian, News 6.
Okay, sure. Let me invite Mr. Peter Paul, Alpha, John Dadford, and Ron Carey, who are all here. I don't know. I don't think a specific time limit has been identified, but there is not a lot of time, essentially.
We'll be meeting with the IAM beginning immediately.
Yep.
Since June this year, we have seen 6 verified and 1 very suspicious case. We are aware of physicians in the area, notably in Hayward, that have seen at least half a dozen cases since last year.
Excuse me, sir, you're under arrest.
The images have become synonymous with Operation Rescue's campaign against abortion.
Okay, I need an escort group.
Anticipating similar demonstrations, a coalition of abortion rights groups in Minneapolis-St. Paul has trained more than 2,000 volunteers in nonviolent clinic defense techniques.
Not one clinic is going to be closed this weekend or during the week.
And at Minnesota's Planned Parenthood headquarters, the line has been drawn, literally, in the form of an 8-foot-tall chain-link fence. And is a line from which you refuse to budge.
This is a line from which we will not retreat.
As a result of the mounting tension, the Minnesota State Legislature recently passed a new law which makes blocking access to abortion clinics a crime punishable by up to 1 year in prison. The new bill is likely to have an effect on some of Operation Rescue's tactics, but certainly not all of them.
Do you follow these people to their homes?
No, we don't have to follow them. That's a misnomer. We go to their homes. We know everything about them.
And you advocate putting abortion doctors on wanted posters?
I see nothing wrong with it, absolutely not.
With those kinds of tactics, critics say, the people taking part in the Cities of Refuge campaign will find little refuge here. For today, this is Brad Woodard in Minneapolis.
The performances have been well attended for the most part, especially as a first-year event. People know we're happening, but it still take a while for the word to get fully out. But overall, the attendance has been great.
If we had had a baffled car when the tank car fell into the Nemadji River last year, let's say it had 3 compartments, we'd have had 1/3 the spill that we had. 1/3 the problems, 1/3 the chemicals, maybe 1/3 the evacuation.
Go out there, catch their fish, and not have to work. Be convinced to set it aside.
Well, in part because
our grandkids from placing some kind of a dump here that they're not going to someday want. And Linda and I
the draft GEIS. Minnesota's forests have been studied more extensively than any forests anywhere in the country, probably anywhere in the world. And with that level of scrutiny, the report is very positive for the stewardship of our forest resources. Monthly meeting. I don't think, I looked at the agenda and I didn't see anything that I was interested in. Appointees and citizens who are appointed by the governor for public service. For the hearings in northern Minnesota, where many people's lives are affected by forest resource management, be they loggers or in the tourism industry, that it's very important for people to learn what's in the document.
I don't want to look at you. Why? There you go.
Well, they must be doing a story on.
KBJR Channel 6. One moment, please.
There's nothing to see.
Flooring.
Well, you need me to stand there.
You're fine. Go with it. Never. We're great. So you don't work 24-hour shifts? Okay. Right.
Fans of the Blue Angels found themselves on standby today, waiting for a break in the weather. But the rain continued to fall, forcing the cancellation of this afternoon's exhibition. After losing 15,000 parking spaces to saturated fields at the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport, it was hoped this summer's record rain would spare the air show. However, Mother Nature did not cooperate. Things are wet here at the Hibbing-Chisholm Airport. There's no doubt about that. But organizers of this weekend's air show say they still expect a crowd as big as 30,000 to turn out and see some daredevil flying.
Tomorrow there might be a chance of a scattered shower, and scattered showers we aren't worried about. And Sunday it's supposed to be great. So we are still expecting 2 full days of the air show. This was an extra day. So, I mean, if we had to lose one, this would be the one to lose.
Today's show would have literally been a dream come true for some local kids in the Make-A-Wish program. But even though the Blue Angels were grounded with wet wings, they still managed to make the day one these Northland youngsters won't soon forget.
Want him to sign his name on that for you? Let him write on it for you.
The kids that are in the hospital and at home because of illnesses a lot of times don't get the opportunity that other kids do to get out and about and to enjoy things. And this gives them the chance to really do something special and something unique.
And with a little luck, air show organizers may get what they're wishing for, a dry weekend. At the Chisholm-Hibbing Airport, Stephanie Guadian, News 6.
The interactive computers are up and running now, and we have courses available, and everybody can work just at their own pace and learn what they need to learn while just being on the interactive computers.
A USX and my grandfather being an employee.
Any more about it, maybe I ought to just let you see it. Finest. Taconite's finest people, finest operators, finest technology, and finest technicians. Traveling much slower, I might add.
The zoo is a great asset for Duluth. I think it's one of our most underappreciated assets. And so we are just giving everyone the opportunity to see the zoo.
one thing that clearly needs to be done is that counties need to ensure that the person follows through, and if they do not follow through, they are right back in court, prepared to face the consequences for their failure to comply with the court order.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
And with nobody hurt, no citizens hurt, he wasn't hurt, and no deputies were hurt. So.
It's terrible down there. They've had people in shelters for a month, and the best estimate that they can get is there's a lot of people that probably won't be out of a shelter for another 6 to 8 weeks, and some of those people will not be in their homes until the first of the year.
Here at Zion Lutheran Church, Karen Strufert went to Sunday school and was confirmed. Her parents still attend services every Sunday. Karen's memory is kept alive here through a finely crafted, beautiful stained glass window, a gift to the family and to the church. The 20 by 40-inch pale green and white stained glass window with a dove, a sailboat, and a white rose was hanging in that window. Somebody had to have come in through the front door of the church sometime last weekend, unscrewed the stained glass window and taken it away with them, maybe not even realizing what it represented.
The value of that window is memory. The value is history. The value is the importance of family. It's home. It's apple pie, all that. It was all wrapped up in that particular kind of window.
Grand Rapids police immediately began an investigation, asking neighbors and churchgoers if anyone had seen anything suspicious.
We would be real happy with the safe return of it. If we get a charge and a conviction on it, that's extra, but we're hoping to at least get the return of the glass.
For the people of Grand Rapids, the theft is pain on top of misery.
Terrible to think that someone would steal a memorial like that, and Karen Strufert was so popular and such an asset to the community that it's pretty sad.
I don't understand it. I work with their parents on addressing violence in the community, and it's just a real blow. It's nuts.
The church is offering a $500 reward for information that leads to getting the window back. The Country Kitchen restaurant has agreed to serve as a drop-off point with no questions asked. All the community wants is to get the memorial window back and to let Karen Strufert rest in peace. In Grand Rapids, Barbara Riles, News 6.
It's really a community-wide project, the Paint-a-thon is. We've painted over 100 houses in Duluth over the past 7 years.
They know that they can report them and do something about them, or if they're actually on... No, I don't. I've been in politics, not as a political or an elected official, but I've worked for the city for 17 years, so...
Well, they sure can be fixed. This fall we'll be doing some renovation at Glensheen, and as everyone knows, they've been there quite a while, so everything can be fixed with a little love and care.
The other one's pretty. The other one's pretty.
It's not an uncommon sight. People using these inhalers or bronchodilators to help them through an attack brought on by asthma. But recently, a national survey of more than 4,000 asthma patients showed more than half of them continued to be told by their doctors to use bronchodilators as a treatment rather than just as a help through an attack.
If you're requiring bronchodilators on most days of the week, meter dose inhalers, if you're requiring it on most days of the week, then it's time to contact your physician. And
Duluth Clinic pulmonary specialist Dr. Norm Eunice says it's critical for physicians and asthma sufferers to understand the condition should be taken seriously. Asthma has various levels of severity, and the disease itself, not just the symptoms, must be appropriately treated or it can kill you.
The emphasis in asthma treatment increasingly is that we should be treating the underlying inflammatory condition earlier with anti-inflammatory medication. The role of bronchodilator therapy is really for treating acute attacks as and when they occur.
The concern of the National Heart and Lung Institute is that the use of bronchodilators, which work well to alleviate symptoms, may be giving patients a false sense of security. They recommend that moderate to severe cases be considered for treatment with anti-inflammatory drugs. Experts say people who find themselves using their inhalers more than 3 times a week should talk to their doctors about getting appropriate drugs to treat their condition. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
I don't want to use the word scared, unsure of themselves, but we've been unsure for about 12 years now, ever since Toronto took over. So, I mean, it's really nothing new with us.
Carleton County history is what we concentrate on. We have a lot of family history, history of the various communities in the area in Carleton County.
People are losing a lot of their livelihood, their houses and homes, and it's not too fun to see. Living in Duluth, we don't really have to worry about that. On the hill, people living in the plains and the flatlands, they're in trouble.
Anyone who shows up at the Summit School at 1600 North 8th Avenue East these days is put to work. And there's a lot of work to do to get the facility in shape for its opening deadline. Staff members are putting what they call sweat equity into the project.
I have a hacksaw. It's right in the back of my van there, right underneath the plastic thing, the blade protected from children.
The Summit School will enroll children in classes of no more than 15 for grades kindergarten through 4th. The idea stems from a 3-year research project focusing on what parents want out of their kids' education.
What we found is that parents were interested in a back to the basics, focusing on reading, writing, and arithmetic, and not specializing at an early age. And plus, they wanted to have the opportunity for the kids to have what many people consider to be extras, but we consider to be basic skills, and that's art and music and Phi-Ed and a foreign language.
They also found a dissatisfaction among some parents regarding the academic achievements of their younger children.
You know, there are alternatives at many other grade levels or with other emphases, such as the religious or the methodology, that kind of thing. But what we're focusing on is just basic curriculum, integrated curriculum, real strong, solid academic kind of emphasis.
We get into the library function, grade 1 and 2, most of which is existing spaces that we're modifying for code issues.
Summit School will have 6 classrooms. Directors say the classes are filling quickly, but there is still room at each grade level. Summit will also offer daycare before and after school hours with a certified early childhood specialist in charge. There's a strong feeling of commitment to what the Summit School stands for among those working so hard to get the facility ready in time for the September 13th opening deadline. If that work ethic and commitment to project carries over into the curriculum, the Summit School should be a success. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
Don't want domestic violence cases through their courtrooms. We still have in our own community court, and that some of these women are living in such fear. As an organization, we can do so much, but we're only one part of this community. I mean, from the whole criminal justice system, through social services, through probation, attorneys, law enforcement, you know, outside the city limits, inside the city limits. We need help and suggestions, and we need to be working, I imagine, a lot more cooperatively.